Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut this beautiful and stylish Queen Anne neckline yoke. So if this is something you're interested in, if this is something you want to learn how to cut and sew, please like this video, comment, share, subscribe, and without wasting much time, let's get right into the video. Welcome back guys. So this is the pattern I will be using, and from this pattern I went ahead to cut the bustier away from it. So the only thing I want to use this pattern for now is the Queen Anne neckline. So what I'm doing right now is just the shoulder slope. So for the neckline at the upper part, I want it to be 6.5 inches wide. So that means on fold I'll be cutting 3¼ inch. So that's the wideness of this upper part neckline. So as you can see, this initial armhole line, that is what we'll be using. So the new armhole line is for the bustier, why the old armhole line, yes, that one is the one we'll be using for this, So soulmates, if this pattern is confusing to you, don't worry, just keep watching. I'll be drafting another pattern which I'll be using to explain to you. So that pattern is just a basic pattern, not with a bustier, so I'll be using that one to explain to you better. So you have to determine what the neckline at the upper bust will be. So for me, I want mine to be 9 inches wide at the upper bust area, so I'll be measuring 4½ here. So you have to ignore every dart that I took in from this part because the main focus is not this bustier. So for the Queen Anne neckline, I want it to be stopping at somewhere between the armhole and the bust area. So what I'll be doing now is to connect. So I'm just measuring that at that point. So I'll be connecting that point there down to this upper bust area. What I measured at the upper bust area, I will connect it like this. Then I will now connect from this point down to the shoulder area. If I place my French curve, it won't capture everything at once. That's why I'm doing it gradually. So now we'll use my marker to draw this out so that it can be visible. So after I'm done with this, I'll be showing you how to cut this Queen Anne yoke on a basic pattern that doesn't have a bustier. So just stay tuned. After this, I'll be showing you that very soon. So now for this is what it looks like: the shoulder, the upper bust, the armhole, and the bust. So for the neckline also, we'll be doing 6.5, that's 3¼ inches on fold. Then we go ahead and do the shoulder slope. So at the upper bust area, the wideness we'll be working with will be 9 inches also, which will be 4.5 on fold. Then at the armhole area, you can do in between the armhole and the bust, but you know when you sew the armhole, it will reduce. So I'm doing like 1.5 inches below the armhole area. So now the next thing to do now is just to connect all these points together. So you connect it down here, then you use your marker to also. So I'm using my marker to do this so that you can see it clearly. So this is what it looks like, and I will show you that it is the same thing as the one for the bustier. It is the same thing. So soulmates, comparing this with the bustier own, as you can see, they are the same thing. So the next thing to do now is just to go ahead and cut 4 pieces of one of these. Since they are the same, just choose one, then you cut 4 pieces of this. So this is my bustier that I said earlier, so I went ahead to cut the bustier. So you go ahead to cut that, you cut your lining, and you also add your facing if you want to add facing to this. So this is what the pattern looks like when I place it on this. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, it is balancing with what I have here. So this is the bustier. Like I said, you go ahead and cut your lining, you add your facing, and you go ahead and join this also. So this is the fabric I'll be using. I'm using a Bustier satin for this. So as you can see, I'm folding into 4. Like I said, I'm cutting 4 pieces of this, so 2 for each side. So you place it like this, then you had your joining allowance and the sewing allowance by this side. So I'll be adding a joining allowance at the shoulder. At the armhole part, I don't need a joining allowance. So at this side here, I'm adding sewing allowance for the side. So this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll be doing is to add facing to this. So you can add facing to each of the pieces, or you can just add to one or for each side. So I added one for each side, that is for the left side I added one facing to it, and for the right side I added one facing. So this is the facing and this is the one without facing. So I'll be joining each one together now. So I'll be picking one without facing and the one with facing, then I'll be joining it with my sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and join this side alone. So this side alone, I'll go ahead and join it. I'll do the same thing too for the other side. So after joining, this is what it looks like, and I went ahead to also iron it. So this is my bustier after sewing, and this is what it looks like. So now you place your Queen Anne neckline on it. You pin it down like this on the right side. Then for this left side too, you pin it down. As you know that the neckline at the upper bust area is 9 inches, so we'll go ahead and measure that to know if we are still correct. So you go ahead and measure at that side to know if you are placing this correctly, and you can also measure the length also from the top down to the upper bust to see if it is the same thing, as the length. Because for me, the length from my shoulder down to my upper bust is about 6 inches, so you can also measure that to know if this length is also correct or not. So you could just do every adjustment you need to do on this. You do every adjustment, then you go ahead and you fix the back of this gown. You fix the back of this gown to it, then you do all the joining and all. So this is it after doing all the joining. As you can see, this part is still open. So the next thing I will do is to just use a matching thread to just sew this place down. I'll use a matching thread to sew it down, or you can just tack it a little so that it will not be too visible. Because if you don't tack this down, there's a likelihood of it opening up. Yes, that's Queen Anne neckline, it can open up, so you just have to tack it down with a matching thread so that it doesn't look obvious. So I'm trying to remeasure what I have here to see if I'm correct or not, and I measured it is 9 inches. It is 9 inches. Then I measured this upper part, so you know my neckline for this upper part was 6.5, and I measured it was the same. So this is what it looks like. So if you want to add any design to this, you can go ahead and add any design. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't liked, please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.